The evening light filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the Grand Metropolitan Hotel, casting long golden shadows across the marble lobby. Alexander Sterling adjusted his silk tie for the third time, watching as elegant guests glided through the space in their evening wear. As the hotel's owner, he had hosted countless charity galas, but tonight felt different somehow. The annual Children's Foundation benefit was in full swing on the 20th floor. Alexander moved through the crowd with practiced ease, shaking hands and making polite conversation. His dark suit was perfectly tailored, his smile professionally warm, yet something felt hollow about it all. At 35, he had everything money could buy, but lately, the glittering world he inhabited seemed to lack genuine connection. Mr. Sterling, his assistant Marcus approached quietly. The silent auction is performing exceptionally well tonight. Alexander nodded absently, his attention drawn to a woman standing near the dessert table. She wore a simple black dress that somehow made her stand out among all the designer gowns. Her auburn hair was pulled back in an elegant twist, and when she laughed at something her companion said, the sound was like music cutting through the ambient chatter. "Who is she?" Alexander found himself asking. Marcus followed his gaze. "I believe that's Elena Martinez. She's listed as a VIP guest, though I don't have additional details about her background." Elena. The name suited her perfectly. Alexander watched as she gracefully moved through the crowd, speaking with genuine interest to everyone she encountered. Unlike many of the guests who seemed more focused on being seen than actually contributing to the cause, Elena appeared truly engaged with the evening's purpose. During dinner, Alexander found himself stealing glances at Elena's table. She listened intently to the speakers, applauded warmly, and seemed to hang on every word about the children the foundation helped. When a video played showing the impact of donations, he noticed tears glistening in her eyes. After the formal program ended, Alexander seized his opportunity. He approached her table during the coffee service, his heart beating faster than it had in years. "Excuse me," he said softly. "I'm Alexander Sterling. I hope you're enjoying the evening." Elena looked up, and their eyes met. Hers were warm brown, filled with intelligence and kindness. "Oh, hello. Yes, it's been wonderful. Thank you for hosting such a meaningful event. The work your foundation does is truly inspiring." Her voice carried a slight accent that Alexander found captivating. They talked easily, naturally. Elena spoke passionately about education and opportunity, about how small changes could transform lives. Alexander found himself sharing thoughts he rarely voiced, talking about his desire to make a real difference beyond just writing checks. "Would you like to step out onto the terrace?" Alexander asked. "It's a beautiful night, and the view is spectacular." The terrace overlooked the city's sparkling lights. A gentle breeze carried the scent of jasmine from the hotel's rooftop garden. They stood at the railing, their conversation flowing like they had known each other for years rather than minutes. "This is incredible," Elena said, gesturing at the panoramic view. "You must never get tired of seeing the city like this, actually." "I rarely take time to appreciate it," Alexander admitted. "Tonight feels different, though." They talked about books, about travel, about dreams and disappointments. Elena spoke of her love for art and literature, of places she hoped to visit someday. Alexander found himself making mental notes, already planning ways to make those dreams come true for her. As the evening wound down, Alexander reluctantly prepared to say goodbye. "Elena, I would love to see you again. Perhaps dinner tomorrow night?" Elena hesitated, a shadow crossing her features. I would like that very much, but I should mention that I'm not exactly who you might think I am." "What do you mean?" "I mean that tonight has been like a fairy tale, but fairy tales end at midnight." She smiled sadly. "I should go." "Wait," Alexander called, but she had already begun walking away. "How can I reach you?" "I work at the hotel," she said simply, then disappeared into the crowd. Alexander spent the next morning making discreet inquiries. What he discovered shook him to his core. Elena Martinez was indeed employed at the hotel as a member of the night cleaning crew. She had been working in the building during the gala, And during her break, she had somehow found herself among the guests. The revelation hit Alexander like a physical blow. Not because Elena was a cleaning lady, but because he realized how she must have felt during their conversation. While he had been falling in love with her authenticity and grace, she had been living in fear of discovery. Knowing that their worlds were supposed to be incompatible, that evening, Alexander waited in the hotel lobby. He had learned Elena's schedule from the housekeeping supervisor, though he hadn't revealed why he was asking. At 11:30, he saw her emerge from the service elevator, dressed in a simple uniform, her hair in a practical ponytail. She looked tired but still beautiful, Elena. She froze when she saw him, her face cycling through surprise, embarrassment, and something that looked like fear. Mr. Sterling, I can explain. There's nothing to explain, Alexander said gently, approaching her slowly. I came to ask if you would still like to have that dinner. Elena stared at him in disbelief. You know who I really am. I know you're intelligent, kind, passionate about helping others, and that you made me feel more alive in one evening than I have in years. Alexander stepped closer. I know you're the woman I've been looking for without realizing I was searching. Tears filled Elena's eyes. This is impossible. We live in different worlds, do we? Because last night, when we were talking about books and dreams and making a difference in the world, I didn't see two different worlds. I saw two people who understood each other. Alexander reached into his jacket and pulled out a small velvet box. Elena gasped. I know this seems crazy, Alexander said, his voice shaking slightly. But I've spent my whole life making calculated decisions based on logic and profit margins. For once, I want to follow my heart. He opened the box, revealing a simple but elegant diamond ring. Elena Martinez, will you marry me? Alexander, you don't understand. I clean toilets. I live in a tiny apartment. I don't know how to be part of your world. Then teach me to be part of yours, Alexander said simply. Because money can't buy what you gave me last night. Hope, joy, the feeling that there's something worth working for beyond the next profit report. Elena looked at him for a long moment, searching his face for any sign of doubt or condescension. She found only love and sincerity. This is absolutely insane, she whispered. The best things usually are. Elena laughed through her tears, the same musical sound that had first caught Alexander's attention. Yes, she said softly. Yes, I'll marry you. As Alexander slipped the ring onto her finger, he realized that the greatest treasure wasn't the hotel empire he had built or the millions in his accounts. It was the woman in his arms who had shown him that true wealth came from genuine connection, from seeing and being seen by another human being. 6 months later, as they danced at their wedding reception in the same ballroom where they had met, Alexander whispered in Elena's ear, "Thank you for teaching me that the heart sees what money cannot." Elena smiled up at her husband, no longer afraid of fairy tales ending at midnight. Some stories, she had learned, were just beginning.